Okay, so the video is going to start at the point at which you already have your model. It's already set and good. You can upload it anytime you want. If you don't know how to set your model up to be ready for uploading, you're going to have to find another video. I'm not going to help you here in this case. This is just for the marker. So what you want to do is you're going to go online and you're going to find the Snail markers for VRChat. It's a little GitHub page. It has the Unity package. You can download it there, and then we're going to install it. You may notice I have some other assets. These are to help me personally as I'm making the video. You don't need them, but they are helpful. I have the dynamic bone script, which I'm actually not going to be using, and I have the muscle animation editor. This is going to help me later on. Which first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the Snail folder, marker, prefab, and you'll notice this prefab here. You're going to take this prefab, you're going to drag it next to whatever it is that you want to have the marker attached to. In this case, I'm going to put it on my fingertip, and right over here, the mesh filter, here this is your mesh. Currently it has none, but I'm going to set it to cube so I have something that I can actually see and work with. Scale it down a bit so I can actually see what I'm doing. Alright, so now we have our cube. So this is the mesh that you're going to have to work with. If you want to change the position that the trail is actually going to come down to, inside the marker prefab there's trail position. Notice that it moves separate of the mesh, and that is the point at which the marker trail is actually going to come out of. So if this is the mesh, this is where the trail is actually going to come out of. I'm going to keep it right there for now. But after we have that, we're going to go all the way down into them to trail. Oh, no, actually, first we have to go back up to the marker folder. We're going to go to Components, Trail Enabler, and we're going to click on Trail Enable, or Enable Trail, this animation right here. This animation normally has a set over here at 1 second, and we do not want this. We want this to be all the way back over here at the first frame. So we're actually going to delete this one and move it over. As you can see, they are this exact same. Oop, they are not actually, but we want to keep it as it is, because then at the end it's going to disable the trail source. So next we're going to go back to our project. We're going to go back up to Components, Marker, and we're going to go back to Trail Source up here. And this is where we do our information with the edits on the trail. Most people will set the width here to 0.011. That gives you a trail the thickness of approximately your finger. You may notice that we actually don't want to change the color here, or we can, but I prefer not to, because later on I'm going to actually put a material onto it. Right here, this is where we can change the actual material. Let's just go with red for now, and you have our different coloring modes. Solid is solid color, gradient means that it changes colors as you drive it. And texture, you can make it have a specific texture, you know, a rainbow, Nicolas Cage's face, as my friend did, but we're going to keep it on solid right now. After that, we're going to go back to Marker, Components. Oop, no, sorry, we actually already did that. I'm losing my mind. Inside Trail Source, we're going to go, and right here it says Do Everything. We're going to click that, and this is where it's going to ask you where do you want to put the assets that it's going to be pushing out for your model. So because this is for our Pepsi Man, we're going to click on my Pepsi Man folder and select it. And it just dumped out these 4 files. This is the override animation controller, which if you may have. If you already have it, you don't need this anymore, but since I don't, I'm going to keep it. This is the material that the trail is going to have. And these 2 are the animations for drawing and erasing. But we actually don't want to use these. Both of these have an issue where the animations are tied only to this prefab right here. So we actually don't have access to any of these other bones, so we can't make ourselves point when we're doing the animations. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to go inside the animations and take note of the information inside of them. As you can see, it is a trail source position, and they're all set to 0 on both of them. So we want to make sure we know that. We can actually copy both of them. And then we're going to go to up here, Pepsi Man. We're going to duplicate it so we have a workplace. Hide the original, show this one, and we're going to make a new animation. We're going to name this one, let's just go with Drawing Actually. And just go to the first frame, paste it in. And now we have, you may have noticed the drop down. If you did animation overrides before, you may know that it does this. This is A-okay. This is perfectly fine. So now we actually have the ability to edit our armature, whereas before we didn't. If I were to say, click on this, use my muscle editor. By the way, muscle editor, very, very nice tool. It gives you these little sliders to edit things instead of having to type them in, as you can see. So we can give ourselves a point on our, here, let me just reset them. On our index finger, we're going to give ourselves a little point. The default position for pointing is 0.8 on the index, and then we're just going to give a nice closed fist on the rest of the fingers. Now you need to know for a fact that you have to give yourself an animation on the other hand as well in animation overrides. Otherwise you will always get this hand if you try to use it. So we'll just do the same thing on the other hand since we're going to be pointing. Oop, that's the wrong one. 0.8, and then these are all going to be 1. And just like that. We are good. Now we have our 2 pointings, and we have our marker on the tip. We're all done there. Going back to this, we are all done. Oop, we got to copy this over once again. If it would let me, that is. Come on. We're just going to do that. That works. There we go. Alright. Our over information is copied over. Now we have our pointing animations. And our trail enabler is working. We're going to do the exact same thing on our erase all. Take this, copy them, go back to this, and do a new clip. Erase all actually. And do that, and give ourselves a really shitty open hand we're going to do. So we're just going to go index 1, index 1, index 1, index 1, and I realize that I can do this, and then copy sides to mirror. And we have our open hands. That is very close to the original, because that is a very good way to make it so it clears. Copy that, paste, and we have our trail. All good. Then we're done there, and we have our new animations for our fingers. Then we can go over to our override inspector. We can delete these two here. Go to there and override once again. And we're going to put my drawing actually on. I really prefer doing handgun, because it makes it so that you can point and you can see where you're going to draw without actually drawing it, and then if you lift your thumb, you can actually be drawing with that. So we're going to do drawing actually there, and then we're going to put erase all onto open hand open, same thing. And we should be all good to go after that. I know it's a pain in the ass, it's a lot of fun, but we have to make sure that we remake those animations. Otherwise you don't have access to the bones, as I said. Alright, if you have any issues, let me know. I'll remake the video, because I'm doing this completely from memory, all in one take, because I don't know how to video edit it. So, if you have any issues, let me know.